My oldest daughter, Annie, works with me and with my environmental company that I'm able to keep those two pretty close to me. My three littlest ones, they play for a job. They play every day, really hard.
Cayden Costner built legends on screen, but off camera, a quieter, stranger story unfolded around his 7 children. Born across different decades, raised through fame, distance, and shifting family lines, their lives rarely followed Hollywood's expected script. Some stepped far from the spotlight, others carried it carefully, all shaped by a surname the world already knew. So, what really happens when one father's fame spans generations? Stay with us as we pull back the curtain and reveal the truths behind the myths you thought you knew. Number 7. Annie Costner. Hollywood often assumed Annie Costner would grow up chasing the same spotlight that followed her father, but her story took a far subtler shape. Raised in Los Angeles, film sets were less glamorous backdrops and more like extended living rooms. Cameras, crews, and long shooting days blended into everyday life, giving her an unusually early understanding of how movies were truly made. She stepped in front of the lens as a child, sharing brief screen time with her father in Dances with Wolves in 1990, absorbing the rhythm of storytelling long before she understood its weight. Annie was born in April 1984, right as her father's career began accelerating into global recognition. That timing mattered. By the time she was old enough to form memories, success was already normal in her household. As the 1990s unfolded, she appeared again in projects like The Babysitter's Club and The Postman, often alongside her younger siblings. From the outside, the signs pointed toward an acting future. Inside, something else was forming. Annie paid more attention to the structure behind the scenes than the applause in front of it. She watched how real moments were shaped into meaning. As adulthood approached, she quietly stepped away from expectations. Acting never disappeared from her history, but it stopped defining her direction. Instead, she gravitated toward documentary storytelling, drawn to real lives rather than scripted drama. That shift became concrete in 2014 when, at just 30 years old, she co-founded Sound Off Films in California. The company wasn't built for celebrity visibility, but for substance. Annie focused on projects that blended culture, impact, and curiosity stories that asked viewers to listen rather than simply watch. Her work soon reflected that intention. From the energy of Katy Perry, The Witness Tour, to A Tale of Two Rios in 2016, which explored environmental tension in Brazil, and Bump and Spike, a look into the roots of beach volleyball, Annie's productions avoided noise and leaned into clarity. The common thread wasn't fame, but focus. Each project added distance between her and the shadow people assumed she lived under. Away from production schedules, Annie built a grounded personal life. In July 2016, she married physician Dr. Danny Cox during an intimate ceremony held on her father's private estate in Carpinteria, California. It was deliberately quiet, family-centered, and free from spectacle. Since then, motherhood has added a new dimension to her world, making her father a grandfather, a role he references sparingly and protects fiercely. Today, Annie Costner remains present in Hollywood without being consumed by it, shaping meaningful stories, raising a family, and choosing purpose over volume. But why did the next Costner child choose a completely different path? Let's find out. Keep watching. Number 6. Lily Costner. Lily Costner has always existed just close enough to fame to touch it, yet far enough away to never be consumed by it. As a child, she appeared in family photos from the late 1980s, a blonde toddler often seen beside her father, Cayden Costner, at a time when his career was becoming impossible to ignore. Hollywood hovered around her early, and, like her siblings, she briefly stepped into it, appearing in The Babysitter's Club in 1995 and The Postman in 1997. Those cameos felt less like ambition and more like a quiet family habit, a shared moment rather than a career choice. Lily was born in August 1986, growing up in a household where creativity wasn't discussed. It was lived. Acting may have been the visible profession in the room, but music was always present too. Kevin's love for songwriting and performing spilled naturally into family life, especially through his band, Cayden Costner, and Modern West. Lily absorbed that world almost effortlessly. Long before people noticed her voice, she was already writing, singing, and shaping music in private, not with fame in mind, but feeling. Her talent eventually found its way into film, though never in the usual pop star direction. As a teenager, Lily recorded every little thing for the soundtrack of 3,000 Miles to Graceland in 2001, marking her first serious musical credit. Years later, she contributed again, lending her voice to Black or White in 2014. The most personal collaboration came with Heaven's Gate, a duet with her father's band featured on Tales from Yellowstone. That connection came full circle when Lily appeared on Yellowstone, singing alongside Kevin in a rare on-screen father-daughter moment that felt intimate rather than performative. Despite these opportunities, Lily never leaned into celebrity culture. At 39, she remains deliberately low-profile, a choice her father has openly admired. He's described her as someone who loves music deeply, but feels no pull toward stardom. Someone grounded, curious, and uninterested in measuring success by applause. That mindset shows in how she lives now. Lily continues to write and sing, sometimes performing at small charity events or intimate gatherings, occasionally sharing quiet clips online, but never building a brand around herself. Her connection to Hollywood surfaces only in passing. She served as Miss Golden Globe in 2004, briefly stepping onto one of the industry's biggest stages, yet never using it as leverage. Today, she splits her time between California and Colorado, enjoys the outdoors, stays close to family, and appears at important moments, like a Thanksgiving beach gathering in 2024 or supporting her father at the Horizon premiere the same year, content to let music speak only when she chooses. So, what happens when the spotlight fades and the next Costner steps forward? Let's find out. Keep watching. Number 5. Joe Costner. Joe Costner has never tried to outrun his last name. He simply chose a quieter lane. Born in January 1988 in Los Angeles, he arrived as the first son after 2 daughters and quickly became the center of gentle attention from both parents and protective sisters. Movie sets were familiar territory early on. As a small boy, Joe appeared briefly in Tin Cup and later in The Postman, sharing the screen with his sisters and their father, Cayden Costner. For the Costner kids, early cameos felt less like ambition and more like family routine. What followed, though, surprised no one who knew Joe well. Acting never fully held him. What fascinated him was what audiences rarely think about: the texture of sound, the way dialogue sits inside silence, how music and noise shape emotion. As he grew older, his curiosity leaned technical, not performative. That curiosity carried him to Colorado, a place the family had long treated as home away from Hollywood. Joe attended University of Colorado Boulder, where he studied audio engineering and related fields, quietly building skills that mattered more on a set than on a red carpet. Instead of stepping in front of cameras, Joe moved behind them. He entered the industry as an audio engineer and production sound mixer, working where precision matters and ego doesn't. On set,
I'm Joe Costner. This is Spartan Recording. If you're building a recording studio, followed suit after that.
he might be capturing dialogue or environmental sound. In post-production, blending layers until everything feels natural and invisible. It's demanding work, rarely noticed when done right, and Joe leaned into it fully. In 2021, he worked as a sound recordist on a documentary series exploring the evolution of K-pop, and he's since earned credits as a sound mixer on independent films still moving through post-production. By 2025, Joe was 37, firmly established but intentionally out of view. Described as reserved and thoughtful, he avoids publicity with ease. Interviews, reality shows, and industry gossip hold little appeal. He divides his time between California and Colorado, following work while maintaining distance. Music remains personal rather than public. He's known to play guitar or bass in a rock band as a hobby, not a headline, reinforcing how deeply music runs in the family without becoming spectacle. Those closest to him say his character shows in his friendships, long-standing, steady, and grounded. Kevin has spoken about encouraging his children to become their own people, and Joe seems to have absorbed that advice completely. On set, he's just another crew member doing his job well. He surfaces publicly only at meaningful moments. Family gatherings during a turbulent 2023, a private Thanksgiving in 2024, or standing beside his siblings at the Los Angeles premiere of Horizon, an American saga, there to support, then quietly step back into the work he prefers. But what happens when a Costner child grows up almost entirely outside the spotlight? Let's find out. Keep watching. Number 4. Liam Costner. Not long after Kevin Costner's marriage to Cindy ended, his life shifted again in a way few expected. A new chapter opened quietly, away from movie premieres and award speeches, with the arrival of Liam Costner, a child born into circumstances far more complex than headlines suggested. His story never followed the usual Hollywood pattern, and that was by design. Liam was born in November 1996, the result of a brief relationship between Kevin and Bridget Rooney that had already ended by the time he arrived. The situation stirred public curiosity, especially when Kevin requested a paternity test, which confirmed Liam was his son. Responsibility followed swiftly. Kevin established financial support and acknowledged Liam as part of his family, even though Liam would grow up in a very different household from his siblings. While Kevin balanced fame and fatherhood, Liam's upbringing unfolded largely under his mother's care. Bridget came from an influential family tied to business and sports wealth rather than film sets. Her uncle, Pittsburgh Steelers owner Dan Rooney, was a towering figure in American football, and later, Bridget married billionaire businessman Bill Koch. That combination placed Liam at a crossroads between Hollywood legacy and corporate power, shaping a childhood filled more with private institutions and exclusive circles than red carpets. Despite that background, Liam remained nearly invisible to the public. Now 28, he is widely regarded as the most private of Kevin Costner's children. Acting, music, or entertainment never drew him in. Photographs of him are rare, and public appearances even rarer. Kevin stayed present but distant, maintaining a respectful relationship without pulling Liam into the spotlight. As an adult, Liam chose a path that mirrored the world he knew best. He relocated to Florida and entered luxury real estate, working in the Palm Beach market, where wealth, discretion, and negotiation matter more than fame. By his mid-20s, he earned his real estate license and began working with firms focused on high-end properties. The career suited him, ambitious yet understated, social without being showy. Beyond real estate, Liam has explored other professional spaces, including brief roles in investment and resort ventures. Those moves suggest curiosity rather than restlessness, a young professional testing possibilities while guarding his privacy on his own terms. But how does a child raised almost entirely out of sight grow up when fame was never the goal? Let's find out. Keep watching. Number 3. Cayden Wyatt Costner. After nearly a decade of bachelor life, Kevin Costner surprised even himself by choosing to begin again. His marriage to Christine Baumgartner in 2004.
Yes, the new Mr. and Mrs. Costner came straight to extra hours after their elegant Western-themed wedding.
Reopened a door he once thought was closed. Fatherhood, especially in his 50s, came with doubts, quiet fears, and late-night honesty. Yet love outweighed hesitation, and in May 2007, in Los Angeles, Cayden Wyatt Costner arrived, reshaping Kevin's life at age 52 in ways both joyful and unsettling. Becoming a father again felt different this time. Kevin joked about the perks of being older, like pretending to sleep through diaper duty, but beneath the humor lived real anxiety. He worried about energy, time, and whether he would live long enough to guide his son into adulthood. Those fears made him more present, not less. Cayden traveled often with his parents and grew up around music long before he could understand it. By age 1, he already had toy guitars and happily sat on his father's lap, listening to band rehearsals, drawn to rhythm and sound. Before Cayden could fully settle into being an only child, he became a big brother. When Christine was expecting again, his parents tried preparing him by showing him a baby bassinet. His response was simple and unforgettable. He filled it with his toys, staking quiet claim. The arrival of Hayes didn't disrupt him for long. Cayden adjusted easily, later welcoming Grace as well, naturally growing into a protective, steady presence among his younger siblings. As he grew older, Cayden remained mostly out of view, though his resemblance to Kevin became impossible to miss. Tall, calm, and thoughtful, he slowly began appearing at select events once he was old enough to appreciate them. In 2024, he walked the red carpet at the Cannes Film Festival premiere of Horizon, an American saga, a defining moment for a teenager standing beside his father. He followed that experience with an appearance at the Venice Film Festival in 2025 for the sequel, absorbing the world that once felt distant. That same period brought personal challenges. In 2023, his parents' separation unfolded publicly.
Cayden Costner and Christine Baumgartner filed to end their 18-year marriage, pertaining to their divorce,
Forcing Cayden to navigate family change under attention he never asked for. He stayed close to both parents as they settled into co-parenting by 2024. In June 2025, surrounded by all his siblings, Cayden graduated from high school, quietly stepping into adulthood while deciding what comes next. So, after watching Cayden step quietly into adulthood, how would the next Costner child carve out his own identity? Let's find out. Keep watching. Number 2. Hayes Logan Costner. Hayes Logan Costner grew up in a house that never slowed down. With a father who refused to ease into quiet routines, life was filled with school drop-offs, long drives to games, and weekends spent cheering from the sidelines. Kevin Costner often joked that having young kids in his 50s kept him young too, and Hayes embodied that energy. Sports quickly became his natural language. Baseball fields, packed schedules, and later volleyball courts shaped his days, especially when he played alongside older kids just to keep family logistics sane. Hayes was born in February 2009, arriving when Kevin was 54 and fully settled into the role of an older, hands-on dad. Even his name carried meaning. Hayes came from a cowboy character Kevin was developing for a Western story, a project that would later grow into Horizon, an American saga. At the time, it was simply a name. Years later, it became something closer to fate. Raised on a ranch-style property, Hayes enjoyed a childhood rooted in open space, routine, and family, far more grounded than glamorous. Still, Hollywood brushed past him now and then. At 6, Hayes attended his first major premiere when the family walked the red carpet for McFarland USA in 2015. It was brief, controlled, and never overwhelming. His parents made sure cameras didn't replace classrooms or playgrounds. That balance held until Kevin finally began filming Horizon around 2022. Wanting shared time rather than publicity, Kevin gave Hayes a small role, more about being together than building a career. The experience peaked in 2024 at the Cannes Film Festival, where Hayes, barely 15, stood beside his father as the film earned an 11-minute standing ovation. Watching Kevin tear up was unexpected and unforgettable. Soon after, Hayes stepped back into regular teenage life, school, sports, and family moments, carrying one rare memory while keeping both feet firmly on the ground. So, after watching Hayes brush the spotlight and step back, what happens when we arrive at the very last Costner child? Let's find out. Number 1. Grace Avery Costner. Grace Avery Costner arrived as the quiet center of a very full family, completing the household Kevin and Christine had been building with care and patience.
While they split homes, they do that, but I'm trying to make this one smell as good as I can and look as good as.
As the youngest child and the only little girl still at home, Grace experienced a version of family life shaped less by constant premieres and more by routines, creativity, and closeness. By the time she was old enough to form memories, her father, Cayden Costner, was balancing renewed success with a conscious effort to slow down and stay present between projects. Born in June 2010, Grace came into the world when Kevin was 55, already a seasoned father with grown children and hard-earned perspective. He often called her his girly girl, a nickname that fit her mix of charm and confidence. Surrounded by older brothers and sisters, she never lacked attention or protection. Grace grew up adored, always with someone nearby to follow, tease, or learn from, which gave her an easy confidence early on. Life around movie work felt normal to her, even when it wasn't. Once, around age 5, she saw Kevin appear at a school meeting with a severe haircut for the film Criminal and quietly asked her mother if her dad had been fighting again. Moments like that taught Grace that her father's changing looks meant new roles, not trouble. Over time, she learned to read projects by haircuts and beards, like a private code. Unlike her sports-loving brothers, Grace leaned toward artistic play. Drawing, sewing small crafts, and dancing through the living room held her attention longer than footballs. Still, she liked being included. If a ball rolled her way, she'd jump in briefly, then stop everything for her own performance, confident the room would follow her lead. That blend of softness and command became her signature. Public moments came sparingly. She attended the McFarland USA premiere in 2015, hand in hand with her father, and later appeared at The Art of Racing in the Rain premiere in 2019, more comfortable with the lights by then. Her early teens brought change, including her parents' divorce, but stability remained a priority. Now, 15, Grace divides time between homes designed to feel welcoming, grounded, and safe, growing quietly while watching her father's world from just close enough. She remains shielded from attention, photographed only at select family events, still deciding who she wants to be beyond famous last names and expectations. So what do you think happens when the youngest Costner grows up surrounded by fame but never chasing it? Will Grace carve her own path or stay quietly grounded? We'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.